Hello and welcome to another episode of Nightcap with Nightcat. This is the kitsch-minded show where we talk about toys, boys, and life's other joys. I am your host, Nightcat. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to see you. I've got such a great show for you today. We're going to get into the litter box. We're going to talk about the stupid news. A UFC fighter lost a finger and was just going to keep going, but the officials called it off. We're going to talk about that. Then we're going to bust into the Harry Potter toy collection. It's been a while since we've done a Harry Potter toy on Sunken Treasure, and we're going to do the Holy Grail, baby, right there, the Harry Potter Polly Pocket Castle. But before we get into any of that, I saw something and I had a knee-jerk reaction, and I need you to tell me if I'm overreacting, because I don't think I am. But before we get into this, let me explain something that really irks me. I hate people who go out and hoard something and then resell it for an inflated value because there's nothing on the market. I really don't like that. And listen, I'm a reseller. I go out to thrift stores and I find stuff and I sell it online for more than I bought it for. But there's a huge difference, I think, between someone who's going out and spending thousands of dollars rounding up all of the PS5s and then reselling them for tens of thousands of dollars, and me making an extra $10 off of a toy that I cleaned up at the thrift store that otherwise probably would have ended up in a landfill. There's a huge difference between those things, and I think that there's something particularly irritating about people who do it with kids stuff. Me and my roommate Veronica, we went to McDonald's recently because they had the Pokemon cards, and we were like, that's so fun, let's just go get a Happy Meal. We were looking for lunch anyway, we were gonna go get a Happy Meal and get our Pokemon cards. The McDonald's we went to said, sorry, somebody came in this morning and cleaned us out. One person came in and bought all of the Pokemon toys. And it's just so infuriating and disgusting. And I wasn't upset that I didn't get Pokemon cards. I just thought about how many kids were looking forward to it all day. Their mom finally took them. They got to go into the little drive-thru, and they didn't get their Pokemon cards because one selfish adult decided to sell them for a stupid high price on the internet. Though I think they've had enough of them that I don't know that those ever really went crazy high in value, so I really hope you kind of got burned on that. I hope the Happy Meals cost more than you could sell the cards for. That's what I wish on you. Okay, so here's what I saw. This is a person who went out and bought 40 boxes of Cinnamon Toast Crunch so that they could steal the free Pokemon cards inside. And now they're trying to resell not only the Pokemon cards, but also the open cereal boxes for $2 a piece. By the way, a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch costs $3 at the store. So if you don't want one that's been manhandled by some money-grubbing monster, you could go pay the extra $1 at a store, you know, where you should buy food. But my bigger point here is just, it wasn't bad enough that you already went in and cleaned all of the Cinnamon Toast Crunch off the shelf somewhere so that some kid who saw that Pokemon cards were in Cinnamon Toast Crunch couldn't go get a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch at your store. You couldn't possibly be bothered to donate that food somewhere. The bags aren't open. I'm sure there are plenty of food banks, especially right now when everyone's facing so much food insecurity, who would happily take that off your hands. It is greedy on top of greedy, and it really bothered me, and I almost left a scathing Facebook comment, but I pulled myself back because maybe I'm overreacting. So I want you to tell me what you think. Is this disgusting behavior or not? Let me know in the comments, or if you're watching the premiere, which I hope you are, welcome, tell me in the live chat. Tell me what you think. And I also understand, I'm trying to put it into perspective here. This is what I keep telling myself. Maybe this person is falling on hard times, and they're just trying to make ends meet however they can, and they had like $100 in their pocket, so they went down to the store and they tried to make a little extra money off of that. And if that's the case, I kind of feel bad for being so irritated by it, but I also still just don't like it. I still think it's kind of dirty. Let me know in the chat or the comments. How does that sound? All right, while you do that, I think it's time for us to get into the stupid news of the week. Let's get into the litter box. Ew, what stinks in here? The Litterbox is the part of the show where I go through the stupid news of the week and get you all caught up so you don't have to do it. I'm that nice a guy. I'll waste my time reading the stupid news so that you don't have to. And let's get started. At the UFC. Everyone wants to catch a baseball at a baseball game, but how would you feel about catching a finger? Well, that's kind of what happened this weekend. There was a UFC fighter. His name is... I'm going to mess this up again. Khetag Pliev. Khetag Pliev. That's what I'm going with. Khetag was fighting, and the referees, the officials, just call it off really suddenly, and everyone was really confused until they looked over, and they saw that Khetag was waving one hand, his left hand, without a finger! At some point in the match, he just lost a finger and kept going. But then the officials were like, wow, something is wrong there. And he didn't have a finger. Now, the most horrible part about this is that they couldn't immediately find the finger either. So while the officials are up there searching for it, freaking out, someone gets on the PA, one of the announcers gets on the PA and is like, hey folks, if you would just mind looking in your immediate area for a finger. They made the audience look for the finger too. Eventually they did find the finger. It was jammed pretty deep into his glove, which is also horrifying and disgusting. So there's also that. But they were able to get it off. They got him to the emergency room and they reattached it. But this crazy guy, because you got to be crazy to do UFC anyway, but this crazy guy refused to leave the ring. He wanted to finish the match. He was like, just put it on ice. I've got a match to finish. I almost said a game. I think it's a match. Is it a game? I have a game to finish. Sportsball is my favorite activity. So he was like begging the officials, please just let me finish. And they were like, no, you don't have a finger. And he refused to leave the ring and get to the hospital until the officials actually called it for the other guys. So they were like, you lose, you're losing a finger. So, he says that with some physical therapy, they might need to do some surgery. It is reattached, but with some physical therapy or surgery, it should be okay. Mostly, he's just looking forward to when he can get back in the ring. You know, because he's got 9 other fingers with a mission, apparently. This is him after the hospital. He, you know, was all messed up from the fingers and everything. All right, moving on. TMZ says that a man who was distracted by a self-help book while driving plowed into another man who was just hanging out in his driveway. Ooh, my gosh. So apparently this guy was driving and he was listening to The 4 Agreements, which is a pretty famous self-help book. And it was so loud that he wasn't really paying attention to anything and you couldn't really hear anything that was going on from inside the car. Well, he dropped his cell phone, he bent down to get it, and he couldn't hear the guy yelling at him, hey, you're gonna hit me, you're gonna hit me, and he wasn't paying attention because he was reaching down for his phone, and he hit this guy. Now, this looks pretty bad. If you look at the picture, it's not a pretty sight, but luckily the guy who got hit only suffered like an ankle, either a muscle tear or a strain on his ligament. But you better believe he's lawyering up. Of course he is. Who wouldn't be lawyering up? That's horrifying. I do appreciate, though, how many surveillance cameras we have all the time now, because y'all can't get away with anything. If you want to try to run me over, you can't do nothing about it. Vladamir Putin, president of Russia, just, by the way, granted himself the power to run for 2 more terms. So he's actually just the dictator of Russia now. He was recently voted Sexiest Man in Russia. He is 68. Now listen, I'm not going to sit here and bag on him. He looks great for 68. I think he was 60 when this picture was taken, but he still looks good for 68. But I do take issue with the fact that they're calling him the sexiest man in Russia, because there are men in Russia who look like this. And I know that by exposing Russian models on Instagram to be hotter than Vladimir Putin might put them in danger. I'm very sorry about that. And I also know that I did pick these 2 boys here at the bottom. It's actually the same boy, but look, he's He's good looking. He deserved to be on the roster twice. These are just a few of the men. And I know that Russians are like legendarily good looking people. There's no way that that boiled potato on that horse over there is better looking than any of these guys. It's just not possible. And I know that where there are one of these, there are bound to be millions of them. So I'm just starting to believe that there couldn't possibly be a single legitimate election in Russia whatsoever. Maybe what happened, here's my thought behind it. Are you ready? I think that we were upset about them interfering in all of our elections. So we went through and designed a plot where we would call Vladimir Putin the sexiest man in Russia. That's our way at getting back at them for all of the tampering that they've done. Now, do I think that that is equal force? I do not. I think that something more important should have been done. But also, it is stupid to fight Russia. I mean, how many people have fought Russia and won? Like, nobody. All right, it's a terrible idea. I don't even know why I'm mouthing off. I just thought it was really upsetting that this guy is being considered hotter than all these guys. How dare you, Russia? I mean, the audacity that you have to even just exist the way that you do these days is ridiculous. But then you pull a move like this. Disgusting. Disgusting. And finally, we're going to end with a story that took place right here in my very own backyard in Millcreek, Utah, which is a suburb of Salt Lake. Millcreek. A 20-year-old man who was high on Molly went with his buddy into a 7-Eleven. His buddy's card got declined at the register. So the clerk was like, sorry, man, you can't get your stuff. Your card declined. So the guy gave him the middle finger. Well, the 20-year-old guy high on Molly started getting into the argument as well. And all three of them are sitting there arguing. That's when this guy pulls out a gun and shoots at the clerk at point blank range. Okay? He misses. The clerk runs for cover. He shoots at the clerk 5 more times at point blank range. And he missed every single time. Now, thank God he did. I am not saying that it is a bad thing that he missed 6 times. In fact, I think it's a really, really, really good thing that he missed 6 times. But what, buddy, what are you doing with a gun if you don't know how to use it? What are you even thinking? 6 missed shots? He's like the worst stormtrooper. He's like the stormtrooper that nobody would even allow on the ship, so they just dropped him off on Earth and said, peace out, turd, good luck. And that is the LITTERBOX. Let's play with probably my favorite toy in some Sunken Treasure. Sunken Treasure is the part of the show where we dig through my toy collection and we play with something awesome, and it really just doesn't get more awesome than this. So I don't know the official term. I think it's the World of Hogwarts electronic playset from Mattel, but I just call it Harry Potter Polly Pockets. If you don't remember how Polly Pockets, just this little case, and there you open it up and there's a whole world inside. Fit in your pocket with little dolls, and they had swimming pools and RVs and all sorts of cool stuff. Well, Harry Potter got the Polly Pocket treatment in a big way. So this is the castle. It came out first. Let me just show you here. Ooh. Oh. Now, it's kind of loud, so I won't leave it on the whole time. But check that out. The little Harry spins around. There's a little magnet in there. He goes spinning around. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do with this. We got a troll in here. Oh no, Harry. You better come up. So we got a little club in here that floats, magically levitates, and it makes a little troll sound when you do it. Oh, and the troll's defeated. Great work, great work. Now, the reason I love this thing so much is it was one of my best Christmas presents ever as a kid. I remember getting it and just losing my mind because, like, as soon as you think you found everything that it does, watch, it does more stuff. There is the owlery over here. We can open up these rocks. Ugh. Usually, there's our, no, wait, is that potions? No, I think that's charms. Yeah, that's charms. Down here, though, we have our potions class. The little dungeon classroom down there. You have this little bench here. He's just sitting there. He's minding his own business. He's mixing his potions. Then you flip the bench. And blammo! Oh no! Something has gone horribly wrong. You reach in for a forbidden book. Well, let me show you the forbidden book section. Because it's so funny. Now, this castle was released in 2001. It's pretty dope. But the coolest part about it is that it came with all of these little add-ons that you see everywhere. So here I've got platform 9 3/4 plugged into the castle. And you plug them in and they do cool stuff. Like that little wheel moves down there. How cool is that? So you come through here. Platform 9 3/4, where's that? Oh, here we go. By the way, if you spin this little thing on the top, you can get the wheel to move manually without having the castle. So it's still a fun toy even without this stuff, which I always love because sometimes toy companies will sell toy add-ons or like extra pieces that aren't fun on their own. Like you have to have the main piece, but I love that all of these are a lot of fun even without like the motor. So you can open that up. There's King's Cross Station inside of there. And then that's also a place where you can store. It comes with some bags. You can just put your bags up in the train. Maybe put Ron up in the train. Blammo, you're ready to go. Chugga chugga choo choo. I think my favorite one though might be this Forbidden Forest one. It's so funny because look at the tree's little arms when he goes. Ah, look at him get that car. Now back in the day, this castle alone, not the extra pieces, the castle by itself, MSRP'd for $55.99. It was a very expensive toy, especially back then. That's a lot of money. And then you had to get all of the add-on pieces too. So this was not a cheap investment. And it is hard to find them with all of the little pieces now because these only ran for a year. So the castle was brought out in 2001 along with the 3 add-ons, which were the Hogwarts Express, the Forbidden Corridor, Wahaha, and I believe it was Hagrid's hut. Oh yeah, it definitely was Hagrid's hut because he's hatching a baby dragon up in there. Look, this opens up too. His little bed folds out. So you twist this little chair here and the fire starts spinning. It's hard to see. Fang comes busting down the door there on that side. There's a little dragon egg in there that you can't really see because my fingers are in the way. Those were the first 3 in the series. And then the next year they discontinued these. So these only ran for a year and they came out with the Chamber of Secrets merch, which included a new motor piece that is a Quidditch pitch. Oh, there we go. He's gonna get hit by that bludger. Harry, you better watch it. Oh, he's off the broom. But then it had 2 pieces that plugged into it on either side, which were the Weasley house, the burrow. The burrow, which unfortunately I could never get to work, but it's still really cool and it looks nice with the set. And I have some of the little figurines. Again, those figurines are tiny and this came out like 20 years ago, so it is hard to find any of them with all their original figurines. I was worried that I was never gonna get one when I started collecting because it was just gonna be so expensive. And then one night on Mercari, which is one of my favorite selling apps, by the way, on Mercari, they had one for $130. It had a ton of the figurines. It had all of these. The thing is, though, that castle was broken. So I found another set with not as many figurines, but enough of the external pieces, and the castle worked better. I took that castle, I took all the working pieces from that one, swapped them out with the first one I bought. Now I have an almost completely working set, and I sold that other set that I bought for $10 more than I paid for it because I'm a thrifty bee. That is sunken treasure. I know we are going to go through and play with these a little bit more in detail, but that's the general overview of them. And it is really the coolest toy you'll ever see in your entire life. I love this thing so much. And while I could talk about this thing forever, I don't know that that's exclusively why you're here. So I think it's time for us to get into some Nightcat Classic Tales. Before we get into Nightcat Classic Tales, I would like to just plug a couple of things real quick. Number one, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/NightCatShow. If you like this show and you want it to keep happening and you want us to do bigger, better videos, improve the quality, It all starts with making a little bit of scratch. This is a pretty expensive show to run, including the morning announcements, which is the live stream we do every day, and the Nightcat Radio podcast, and the merch store, and the upcoming true crime tours. This is an expensive operation. I'm only able to do it because of the support from our patrons. Patreon.com/Nightcat Show. There are 2 levels. You could donate $3 a month or $5 a month, whatever you can, whatever you feel comfortable with. You can even go above that if you want, but don't feel obligated to. And I know that not everyone can right now, and Lord knows I have been asked to join a lot of Patreons that I have not joined before, but if you have it in you to do it, and you can, and you want to see more Nightcat, I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. To you, if you are a patron, you're the best. Don't worry about this warning and this message. You're already doing your part. But if you're not, patreon.com/Nightcat Show. I also wanted to talk quickly about the upcoming true crime walking tours. We are almost sold out. The 2 Friday nights are pretty much sold out. I have like 2 tickets left for one and 1 ticket left for the other. The Thursday night, the first Thursday night in April, I think it's the 29th. I'm pretty sure it's the 29th. God, I should have written it down. It is about halfway full, and then the second Thursday date is wide open. It is completely like wide open. So if you want to go, I'd recommend, I think it's the 6th. Thursday, May 6th is a great time to book. But you can find the link for that down in the link tree, which is in the description of this video. Just look for linktr.ee/JacksonWitt. It should take you right to the true crime walking tours. It's like one of the first buttons you see on the link tree. So go book your tickets. They're gonna, go pretty quickly. And whether or not I continue doing these is going to be really dependent on how these first 4 shows go. Tours, shows, whatever. I'm used to shows. It's really going to depend on how those go. So if you would like to keep this going as well, head on to the link tree. I almost said Patreon again. My goodness. Jackson Carter, let's get to some Nightcat Classic Tales. Nightcat Classic Tales is the part of the show where we go through some traumatizing things that have happened in my life, and I do it all for your amusement. Sorry I didn't pick up the Harry Potter toys. I'm gonna check in on the caterpillar cam at the end of this segment, and you'll see why I couldn't move or disturb them. I'm so excited. There's a caterpillar surprise coming up very soon. But until then, let's talk about some trauma. This happened in 2009. I was working door-to-door sales in California, Southern California, and I was so excited because I was out on my own. I had just graduated high school, and it was my first time independently living in an apartment. I have my own job, and it was horrible. It was horrible. Oh man, anyone thinking about door-to-door sales, I would not recommend it. It is hard work and nobody wants you there, buddy. It is not very fun. I sucked at it. I did not make a lot of money. But there was one thing that happened to me that I think is worth reliving a little bit. Okay. One time I was knocking doors with a buddy of mine, and we split off in half, and he was going to do one neighborhood, I was going to do the other. We were going to meet in the middle for lunch. And I go to pick him up, and I have to pee so bad, but we're about to go to lunch, so it's not the end of the world, right? And I'm like, where you at, buddy? I gotta go. And he goes, I'm in with a sale right now. I just got a sale. I'm so excited. Hang out for a second. I'm sorry. And I was like, oh God, I'm gonna pee. But I know that if I drive away, he's gonna come right out that door. I'm gonna have to turn right around and pick him up. So I'm just gonna wait. And I waited. And 20 minutes goes by. And 30 minutes goes by. And it gets so bad that I can feel it like in my ears. I can feel pee up in my ears. It is just time to do something about it. And I'm like, I can't knock on a door. No one in California is going to let you into their house. And anybody who's stupid enough to do that one time usually isn't stupid enough to let a stranger into their house a second time. So that was not going to happen. And again, if I drove away, I was just going to have to turn around, which is going to make it even longer before I can pee. So I found a bottle because I didn't want to pee in someone's yard. I didn't want to go to jail. So I found a Powerade bottle. And here's the thing, I had never peed in a bottle because I'm a redneck. And where we're from, if you need to pee, just anywhere outside is fine. So like the idea of using a bottle to pee in for whatever reason, is so ridiculous. If you gotta pee, we'll just pull off to the side of the road, pee, and get back in the car. No peeing in bottles, so I had never done this before. And I was unaware that you are not supposed to fully insert it into the bottle. Because here's what ends up happening. It's now completely blocking off any airflow into that mouth of that bottle. So I start to pee, and what should happen is the pee should be replacing the air and the air should be escaping, but there's nowhere for the air to go. So I just feel the pee getting pushed right back up into my body, and it hurt so bad. It felt like I was getting stabbed in the dinkle. It was horrifying. And I scream and I pull the bottle off and I just pee all over the dashboard and all over the steering wheel and the windshield and on the roof. I peed everywhere. It was all over the place. And I'm just like, well, I could just light my car on fire and go home. I think I could do that. I think that no one would question it if it was a burning car on the side of the street in California. That would just be another day. But I didn't. I looked around. The only thing that was absorbent in the car was a hat that some girl I had met at a club had left behind in my seat when I gave her a ride home. So I pick up this poor girl's hat and I was like, well, I'm never talking to her again. And I wiped down all the pee that I can, and it had to have smelled like pee. It had to have. But my buddy got in the car. He's like, oh, I'm starving. Let's go. And he didn't say a word about it. So if you did notice, buddy, thank you for not bringing it up. And if you didn't, I'm sorry I didn't tell you until now. But that's the time I tried to pee in a bottle, and I basically got Cotton Eye Joe'd in response. That is Nightcat Classic Tales. I think it's time to tuck you little night kittens into bed with some warm milk. Warm milk. Good news stories to help you get to sleep. Now, I did have a warm milk story, and it involved cats, which it usually does, because I love those little furry little monsters. But I've got new furry little monsters that I have to show you, because right before I started recording Nightcat Classic Tales, I look back to go put my Harry Potter toys away, and I can't put them on their shelf. I cannot disturb the caterpillar cups because check it out. And I noticed that that guy in that cup is building a cocoon. Oh my gosh, hold on. I'm gonna try to get a closer look at it. Oh yeah, buddy. That's what he's doing. Do you see him? He's got his little strings. He's in the J shape. Ooh, I think we're gonna have a cocoon tomorrow morning! I'm freaking out! That's so exciting. That cup right there, they've been eating like champions. There's almost no food left. They're ready to be cocoons. These guys have some catching up to do, though. That big one right there, he seems to be doing pretty okay. He's finally catching up to everyone. But oh my gosh, can you believe it? I think we're gonna have cocoons on morning announcements tomorrow, folks. So freaking excited for caterpillars. I can't wait for it. I hope to see you tomorrow morning on the morning announcements. That's the live stream on the Nightcap with Nightcat YouTube channel. We do that every morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you want to see a beautiful cocoon that was just spun by my beautiful caterpillar, you're going to have to check it out. Don't forget to check out the merch store, nightcatmerch.com. There are a lot of different ways that I'm trying to support myself while I look for a job. This is probably one of the biggest ones besides Patreon, nightcatmerch.com. You can get all sorts of awesome Nightcat hoodies, mugs, phone cases, whatever you want. Don't forget to join the Patreon. And just so you know, I post the audio from every one of these bits, or every one of these videos, excuse me, on the Nightcat Radio Podcast. You can find it on your favorite podcast directory. Every Friday, we're dropping The Curiosity Killed Nightcat. Those are the true crime and paranormal episodes. Patreon members get those a week early, so you've already had episode 2. But episode 2 drops for everyone else on the Nightcat Radio Podcast this Friday. You're not going to want to miss it. I promise you that. Until next week, oh yeah, and go buy True Crime Walking Tour tickets. I didn't mean to pull that up, but it just happened, so it was fate. Go buy your tickets. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, honey, what are you doing? Go subscribe to it. Don't forget to like this video. Tell me in the comments if you think I'm overreacting about that guy reselling all that Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You let me know, because I still have it bookmarked. I can still go yell at him if you guys all think it's cool. That's not true. I'm not going to do that. Have a fabulous night. Bye, bye, bye.